Hi, and welcome to this presentation on Greentree Business Process Management. First off, let's discuss typical business process problems. If you think for a minute about the types of things that have gone wrong in your business recently, then take that further and consider the causes of these issues. We often find a common thread. First of all, many business processes break down because of lack of training. That may be a new employee either being untrained or simply getting it wrong, or working at a snail's pace because the paranoia they feel in that they may do something wrong. Often it's not their fault. It's simply because nobody has had the time to properly induct them. Not only that, process manuals, even if they do exist, are often out of date because no one can be bothered putting in the amount of work required to maintain them, as they feel nobody uses them anyway. The next common cause of process breakdowns is inconsistency. Whether it be pressure, boredom or distractions, they all play their part as to why mistakes will occur. Also, business processes can often involve many people and many stages, and it's here where things really start to unravel. The next problem with business processes is communication. Communication is critical. Unfortunately, people are fundamentally poor communicators. We often make presumptions as to what others know, have done or have communicated. We may manage to communicate what's going wrong, but we are generally hopeless at communicating positive confirmation, that is, what stage something is at or what's been successfully completed. To solve these business issues, Greentree's BPM enables you to graphically define your business processes. Your processes are then automated by Greentree, guiding the user through each step. Because they're defined by you and automated and controlled by Greentree, your processes now follow a consistent path every time. Furthermore, Greentree communicates via SMS, email, the web, and active desktops, so each person involved in the process knows where it's at and what's being asked of them, thus ensuring each task is done, and with built-in escalations, in a timely manner. Let's now have a look at Greentree's Business Process Manager. To begin with, Greentree's BPM is made up of several layers, or building blocks. The first of these is Workflow, which provides much functionality for the user in Greentree. Specifically from BPM's point of view, we're going to focus on active desktops. Here we are in Greentree viewing an active desktop. These desktops are normally defined by an admin user and tailored for each user in your company to show them the things in the business that they need to know about. This particular desktop is an example of one a user in a distribution company may have. Each panel shows us different information. In this panel I can see our current list of back orders. That is, orders our customers have raised with us, but we don't have enough inventory to satisfy them. So the user can see which items they need to acquire immediately. The panel to the right shows us orders that have come in that we do have enough stock for and are waiting to be picked. Down here I can see the orders that are being picked as we speak. And last of all, this panel shows us the orders that have gone out and are waiting invoicing. For example, they may be emailed out at the end of the day. This is a live desktop, not a snapshot of how the transaction sat at a particular time. To demonstrate this, if I choose to pick this order here that ends in 34, and click on there to generate the picking step, you'll notice that it's removed itself from the orders waiting to be picked basket and added itself to the picking in progress basket. And this will have changed on every user's desktop that sees these panels instantly. The second building block is the rules engine, which is already used by Greentree's Approvals and Alerts module. In Greentree, when Approvals and Alerts is in use, you can show this traffic light icon on any Greentree record. When the traffic light is green, it simply means the record has been approved. If it's yellow, it's pending approval, and if it's red, it's been rejected. In this case, this record has been approved. The important thing, however, from BPM's point of view is how the approval got there in the first place. To that end, Greentree has an inbuilt rules engine. In this rules engine, you can define what event takes place to start your process off. So for example, it may be when a record is first created, changed or deleted, or it's created by some other process. But not only that, you can also put conditions around it. So for example, here I'm saying only if a purchase order is over $500 do I want it to actually start the process. The next layer is the escalation engine. It looks for things that haven't happened rather than things that have. For example, a certain task may have been active for 48 hours and is still not completed. The escalation engine can be used to automatically remind someone to do it or reassign it to someone else. The last level is the graphical process flow designer itself. To demonstrate both of these two layers, let's have a look at two real-world examples of how BPM has been used. First of all, we have the account application example. The organisation that set up this process did it for two reasons. Firstly, to ensure that a prospect who wanted a customer account with them should be allowed to, as opposed to going through their reseller network. To ensure that this happens, the sales manager must approve every application. Secondly, they wanted to ensure the prospect could actually pay their bills, so accounts would need to do a credit check. Let's see how they do this in Greentree. First of all, the user chooses the prospect's account application process and clicks to start it off. The process itself then tells the user what to do. In this case, please enter the prospect's details here and save. On saving, the system will request approval by the appropriate manager. On approval, it will create a credit application for you to send to the prospect. So the user enters the prospect's details on the form and then saves. On saving it, on the sales manager's desktop, an approval has popped up for them to look at. That user can load that prospect's details, and here we can see Smith's Computers, the address details and so forth, and importantly we can see that the customer is currently inactive, and it's the process that has actually made that happen. Furthermore, our traffic light icon is yellow, and that signifies that this record's pending approval. The sales manager decides that this prospect can become a customer, so they click in and choose to approve the record. The process now goes back to the admin user and creates the account application form for them. So here we can see that it's filled it in for Wilma Smith at Smith's Computers and asking Wilma to send through her trade references. Meanwhile, back in Greentree, I can see that the next task has been allocated to me, and that is waiting for the application to come back from Smith's Computers, and that's due 1 week after today. I've built escalations in around that. If the account application hasn't come back within 3 days, the system will automatically email Wilma to remind her to send the application in. If it hasn't come in on the 14th, which is a week later, it will automatically remind me via email to actually give them a call and follow them up. Let's assume that the application has come back, so I can mark this task as being completed. The next part of the process is to ask me, have they passed our criteria? That is, have we checked their trade references, checked their credit history with the bank to make sure that they can actually pay their bill. In this case, we say that we have, and it's okay. On clicking yes, it creates the account acceptance form for us, and we can see here that it's sent it to Wilma Smith with her new account number, her terms, her credit limit, and details about how to place orders with our company. Meanwhile, back in Greentree, if we reload that customer account, there's a few things we can see here. First of all, that the traffic light is green, signifying that the salesperson approved them along the way during the process. We can see that the account is now active, which signifies that they've completed the whole process. Not only that, if we actually click on this icon here, we can actually see the process the prospect went through to actually become a customer. So we can see every step of that process. If we follow the yellow brick road there, we can see that they passed our criteria. If I click on any of the tasks that have gone through, I can actually see which user started each particular task and which user completed each task and when. Not only that, we have an audit log which shows us every step that this process went through from beginning to completion. And that's stored for all time against the customer record. So every customer account in this particular company system now has that stored for all time against their account, so we can see how they became a customer in the first place. The next process I will demonstrate is the critical product sale process. The organisation that set up this process simply did it because they're exposed. They're a distribution company that sells various items. However, they make most of their money from one particular product, and most of its sales are to one particular customer. So to ensure that this customer receives the best possible service, nothing is left to chance. The company set up a BPM process so when this customer orders this item, that it is sent out as a priority. And not only that, they ensure that their warehouse never runs out of it. Let's have a look in Greentree as to how they achieved it. So here we are in Greentree with our order entry clerk entering that order for that customer for that critical item. Now I'm actually going to run this process for you a couple of times. First of all, I'm going to enter a low quantity so you can see how it behaves a particular way based on the circumstances as they are now. Then I'll enter it again and change the circumstances so you can see how BPM can automatically make decisions for us. So I save that order, and as we'd expect, it's popped up on our orders waiting to be picked window. But not only that, it's got its own special window of critical orders pick now. So the warehouse are visually aware that this order is critical and it must go out straight away. Not only that, they've built escalations around that particular order. If that order sits there for an hour, it automatically sends an email to the warehouse team. If it sits there for 2 hours and still isn't picked, it will automatically send an SMS to the warehouse manager. And if it sits there for 3 hours and still isn't picked, it sends an SMS to the sales manager. And to this day, the sales manager has actually never received that particular SMS. So this second time round, the customer's ordered it again, but this time they've ordered a few more. So this time the quantity is up to 10. The sales order entry clerk saves that order, as they did last time, and as we'd expect, it's popped up into our orders waiting to be picked window, and also our critical orders to pick now window like it did last time. However, this time it's gone and done something else also. On the purchasing manager's desktop, it's actually gone and created a requisition and allocated the next task to them. So the purchasing manager would double click into that, and it's actually telling him what's happened. This item is considered critical. Please confirm the quantity on this requisition and save. After saving, a purchase order will automatically be generated for the supplier to ensure we do not run out of stock of this item. So we have enough stock for the order that's just come in for that customer, but this is actually taking care of not this order or the next order, but orders 2 months away, to make sure we always have enough inventory of this item, so that customer is always serviced fast. So all the purchasing manager needs to do is confirm that that's the item they want to buy, there's the supplier, and how many they need to buy. If they're happy with that requisition that the system's automatically created through the process manager, all they need to do is save it. It will automatically generate the purchase order for them, and here it is, ready to go to the supplier. If we jump back into Greentree and have a look at those 2 processes that executed, the first time around when we put the order in, it added it to the critical list, then split into 2 parallel tasks, one making sure that the packing slip was picked quickly, the other where it actually went and checked to see if we actually needed to do any reordering. In this case we didn't, so it made that decision for us based on our own criteria. However, of course, the second time around when the order was entered, we can see that it actually did say it needed to create a requisition and generate a purchase order. And again, if we could click into there, we can see when that was started and when it was completed by that particular user. That brings us to the end of this presentation on Greentree Business Process Manager. Hopefully today I've been able to show you how you can make your processes automated, consistent, visible and transparent. Thank you very much for watching.